And I
Yep.
am recording this presentation. There we go. So when we finish, I'll be able to go ahead and process it, and then I can send this as a YouTube link so that Dr. Dow will have a chance to embed that into your Canvas course, and then you can go back and then just review that for later on. So, okay, are we ready to go ahead and start then?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so as Dr. Dow mentioned, I'm Cynthia Kane, and I am the liaison for the School of Library and Information Management. And I think one thing I really want to emphasize more than anything else is that I am available if you have any questions about how to get research started, or if you're ever just sort of struggling with the topic and maybe you think you've got some keywords in mind, but it just isn't quite working in different databases or other resources, please let me know. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to make sure that you have my phone number, my email address, my other contact information. I'm always very happy to set up a Zoom research appointment, just like the Zoom presentation that we're doing right now. Often what can happen with that is that we can share our screens back and forth, and if you have a quick question, sometimes we can solve that just within a few minutes that might take a series of emails to take care of otherwise, so definitely keep that in mind. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you now for our PowerPoint presentation. And I'm just going to go back up here. And I'm going to leave this in this mode for right now because I just want to make sure that you can see everything. So what I wanted to do today is get you a start with an assignment you're going to be doing for LI802, which is using a system that's called LibGuides to create a research guide or a pathfinder or a reference guide. This may seem kind of familiar to some of you who might already be working in libraries, or if you've ever worked on print forms of a pathfinder to help somebody find resources in a subject. If it's not familiar to you, you're going to get immersed in this during the rest of this semester, and I think it will become much more easy, much more comfortable for you. So what I wanted to do first is just go over very quickly. Perry, I actually can, there you go, I can see you. Oh, Perry, thanks so much for doing that. I really appreciate you doing that with your computer. That's wonderful. I really love being able to see you all and just kind of be able to make contact in that way. Perry, thanks again for doing that. I appreciate that. So I wanted to show you just very quickly what you're going to be doing as part of LI802, and then I'm going to show you an example of what a type of LibGuide can be, because I tend to learn a little bit better if I see an actual example of something. So what you're going to wind up doing is creating something called a reference guide. And essentially, depending on the type of library that you work in the public library, for example, you might wind up creating a reference guide if you're getting ready to showcase something such as National Library Week, or if you wanted to highlight resources and activities related to a summer reading program. In an academic library, a reference guide could be used for focusing upon specific resources, such as print and electronic resources in the field of psychology, for example, or a guide on how to do APA citations or MLA citations, something like that. So a reference guide can be used for a lot of different things. It can be a pathfinder. It can be a resource to help patrons perform in-depth research. Also, at Emporia State University, in a lot of our other different curriculums, we'll wind up writing LibGuides or research guides to help support a specific assignment or a project for a course or a series of courses. And this link that I have right now, I'm not going to go to it in the interest of time, but this is a link that I have that I created a couple of years ago when I was working with a counselor education graduate course. All the students were online. It was an online course. And so I created that to show them how to do research in counselor education. So essentially, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be thinking about an audience, and then what it is that you really want to present to your audience, and how you would gather all that information together in one easy to use, easy to find guide so that they can just click on different boxes, different tabs, and find exactly what they would want. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to switch this to actually a different screen because, like I said, I tend to do a little bit better if I'm actually seeing an example of something. So I'm going to go here, and you're going to see one tab right here that you really don't want to see because I'm going to go actually to another tab. So this is an example of a research guide that was actually created using the LibGuides system that we're going to look at in just a few minutes. You can see that this is from Cal Poly at Pomona, their university library. This one really caught my attention. I liked it because it actually is a guide that deals with hip-hop and activism. So it's giving a little bit of a definition of what hip-hop is in case somebody is really not familiar with that. But we go down a little bit further. I just really like this example of a guide that's for a specific audience and dealing with a very specific topic. So you see in the middle of this guide, we have a welcome box. And it's telling us that this guide will provide resources to support the Hip Hop and Activism series held in the CPP library during February 2017. And I thought this was an extremely timely one because February, of course, is Black History Month, and so this is an incredibly appropriate one. You see that even though this was created for February 2017, a year ago, if we go down here, and this is something else that you can do in LibGuides, there's a lot of really neat features that you can link. Over here, on the left-hand side, you can see that they've actually linked a Twitter feed, and I believe this is the person who actually created this guide. So this is the individual's Twitter feed, and that gets updated continuously. This is a really nice feature of LibGuides. You don't really have to be that technically adept, and I'm going to be the first to admit, I'm not very technically adept. I can kind of create some different things, but sometimes I need a little bit of assistance. LibGuides has a lot of different things embedded that will let you link directly to Twitter feeds, to audio files, to YouTube videos. You can embed videos. You can just do a lot of really neat things with it. And again, you don't really have to know a lot about the back end of technology. I'm going to scroll back up here to the top because I wanted to show you what else this guide features that, again, I hope will help you kind of get some ideas. So we have a bar or a tab over here, and I'm going to show you in just a second how you create this particular structure. But we have a tab over here or a bar that describes the Hip Hop and Activism series at the Cal Poly Pomona Library. So it's a nice little advertisement. If I go to Getting Started, you can see that what they're doing here is telling me that if I would like to do a little bit more research about hip-hop, this is how I would search using various subject headings in the online catalog. And again, I'm not going to click on this in the interest of time, but these are actually hyperlinks that have been embedded into the LibGuide, and it looks like if I clicked on those hyperlinks, that would take me directly back into their online catalog to do that search. Again, there's a lot of really nice things you can do with the guide that makes, I think, research and finding information a lot easier for your patrons. Another tab we have here talks about various dictionaries, encyclopedias, and discographies. That's scrolling very nicely. That would be owned specifically by this library. Some of these, it looks like a lot of these are online. They're ebooks. Here's one that I could request through their document delivery system, or I could request their interlibrary loan. A nice little reminder about books over here that relate to the series. It looks like they had some on reserve, which is a very nice feature. And if I click on articles, which I believe will be another thing that you'll be including in your guide, this is actually telling me that I could click on some links to various archives that this library subscribed to, such as archives of Billboard magazines, so I could do a history, kind of a historical search, and also recommended databases for, again, the background on hip-hop and activism. So it looks like I could go to Academic Search Premier, the Garland Encyclopedia of World Music, Music Index, Oxford Music Online, and finally, here are some recommended scholarly journals that this specific library would subscribe to if I wanted to browse in those journals online for more information, or if they were available in print. So there's a reason why I'm spending a little bit of time with this. This is not the only way to organize a LibGuide. It is one way to kind of get you an idea of how a specific LibGuide for a research guide could indeed be organized for your specific audience. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation, because the next feature I want to show you is what you're going to be doing specifically for your class for SLIM. So we keep saying LibGuides. What in the world do we mean by that? Well, SpringShare is a company that some of you may be familiar with. They do a lot of different things, such as a chat reference service called LibChat. They have an FAQ, which is also linked to LibChat, which is called LibAnswers. They have an online calendaring feature, which is called LibCal. See kind of a pattern here in the lib. LibGuides is one of the products that SpringShare offers. The library subscribes directly to LibGuides. We subscribe to other products through SpringShare, but SLIM also has a separate account now for LibGuides access, and I'm really excited to be able to show you how that works. That's going to let you create your own guides. This is something that you will do for this class. They will be available through a unique URL that you would give your guide, and then you could just submit that URL for your assignment or submit it any way that Dr. Dow is going to have you do for this class. Again, very easy. So the address for this is emporiaslim.libguides.com, and you may already have an account. You may already have popped in a little bit with that. We would check with Dr. Dow if you haven't had a chance to do so already, or she would need to give you this for the login information for LibGuides, basically for libguides.com. Dr. Sarah Sutton, which I think some of you have had for classes as well, has very kindly set me up with an account. So my next thing is to show you how you're going to get into the Emporia Slim LibGuides account and then what you would do next. So we'll swap here again. I'm going to go back to this. So this is what your screen would look like when you go to emporiaslim.libguides.com. To log in, you're going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen. And down here at the bottom, there's a small link that says Log in to LibApps. So we're going to click on this. And you can see that I already have my login information saved. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Login to LibApps. And with everything going the way that it should, this should be the next screen that you see when you actually log in. This is LibGuides Home, and this is actually where you're going to start creating a guide. So we're going to click on Create Guide. And you notice that this screen is fairly stark at this point. That's because this is where you're going to start thinking about things such as, what do you want your guide to be named? And you want it to be something that's going to be relevant and basically very identifiable to your audience. So I'm going to do just a real quick demo on creating some things with a guide. And I decided that I was going to work on a topic that I'm actually very immersed in right now. I am really interested in doing some research on how you conduct focus groups, because we're getting ready to do this here on the Emporia campus for the physical library building space. So my guide could be called Research Using Focus Groups. In academic libraries. So this is going to be the name of my guide. And what I want my guide to do then is bring together articles, databases, books, other resources that would help somebody if they were not familiar with how to use focus groups and they just wanted to find out more about that. I'm going to leave this as Start Fresh because I'm going to have kind of a clean interface here. Down here, I could say what type of guide I want this to be. The default will be general purpose. I could say that I maybe would want this to be a subject guide, or this might be actually more appropriate if I said it was a topic guide because it's a little bit more specific in nature. We don't really have a group assignment right now. We're not really going to set a password. We can leave this checkbox on the community because when I finish in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you what that means. So we're going to go ahead and create the guide. Now, that looks really stark and bare. And because it does look very stark, this is where we need to start putting in our information. So the first thing I want to show you up here is this URL. This is a default URL with this lovely PHP on the very end. Go ahead and change that. You don't have to change it right away, but I really would encourage you to change that as soon as possible. And the reason for that is that you want this to be a friendly URL. There we go, and you see it just changed now. So this is going to be the URL from this point on. Once I actually publish this guide, whoever would have this URL could go to this specific site and then look at that. And I'm going to come back in just a second to some ways that you are going to publish your guide once you finish doing everything with this. So you can choose how you want your guide to be laid out. Right now it's in one column. You could say that maybe you wanted 2 columns or 3 columns or custom column widths. But what I wanted to show you is how you're going to add information. So my first information here could be the name of the box, and this could be my welcome box, very similar to what we saw with the Hip Hop and Activism LibGuide. I wanted to create a box very quickly because I wanted to show you this part here, and this is where you can really have a lot of fun with LibGuides. If all you're going to be doing right now is just adding information, your default would be rich text or HTML, but there's also a lot of other things that you can do with this. So if this is just going to be my welcome box, this is where I could say this guide is intended to provide guidance for focus group research if you want to know more about how focus groups are used in academic libraries. I could keep adding boxes down here, but I don't have to do that because what I might want to do here is actually create another page. Now, these are going to look like tabs. I tend to call them tabs, but LibGuides calls them pages. So my next page could simply be something such as books. Again, this is going to be kind of a boring LibGuide, but I'm doing it this way on purpose because I just want to show you how you're going to set up some of these different structures. We're going to save this. Again, I could add a box here, but I could also add a column if I wanted to do something here. And this is where I could do something like general books. And again, I wanted to get that started because I wanted to show you this again. This link would let me search by ISBN or title or author, and this will actually bring in links from the William Allen White Library catalog. This will work for print books, it will also work for ebooks. And what I could do in here then is just actually bring in the records for the books. This is part of what we were seeing on that other guide about hip hop and activism. And if the cover art is already linked somewhere in our catalog, which we have with a lot of our records, the cover art will come over here as well. I'm going to cancel this though because I want to go ahead and add another box real quickly. And we'll call this databases for research. Again, if I went to the database link here, this is where I could start searching for various databases, again, available through the William Allen White Library. And let's see if that wants to work. And was hoping that was going to work there. It actually should. Oh, I know why it is, and it may not work actually with, let me cancel this. I apologize for that. That link actually may not work because we're in the Emporia Slim site, and it may not actually be linking. I was thinking more of what we have with our library. So there's a workaround on this. You could do rich text or HTML or a link, but let's do rich text HTML. I apologize for that because I just simply was not thinking about the fact that this is a different site. This is where I could type in library and information science source. Actually, I'm happy I'm in here too because I can show you that you can change this to bold, italic. You can change the size of the font if you really want that to stand out. A lot of different things that you could do with this. So at least here I could put the name of a database or a number of databases and then just do a quick annotation about what the database is, how it would be useful in terms of focus group research, maybe some keywords that I would want to put in. I'm going to go ahead and save and close this. I'm being mindful of our time too. I'm going to move this over here just a second here. Very quickly, I did want to show you if I do an adding a box here. I wanted to show you just really quickly that if I wanted to add a video, you can see there's a lot of different things that we can do here. I could do this by adding basically adding a widget. Now, in YouTube, you know that there is a way when you click on share, you can also click on something called embed. And with the embed, you can actually copy the embed code to embed your video and then paste that into this box in LibGuides. And then that will embed your video so that people don't have to click on the link or search for it. You may have to resize this a little bit. There are different ways that you can do this, but again, I just wanted to show you that that was indeed a possibility. Before we wrap up, I wanted to show you a couple of other things, and then I do want to go back to our PowerPoint presentation. When you finish with this guide for this assignment, right now nobody else can see this except some of your fellow students, but you'll want to actually change this status when you are finished with this and you're ready to go ahead and share this with Dr. Dow and then with your fellow classmates. You can do change status. What you're going to do is actually change this to private. And the difference between published and private is that published is going to kind of put that out for the world to see. The private feature will let you publish your LibGuide. Let me close this here. But only for those who have this URL. So it makes it really easy just to share the URL and then people will be able to see this. You can also preview your guide at any point. If you go to this little eye, you can see this is not really exciting so far because I really haven't added that much to it. Nevertheless, this is what this guide is going to look like to others when it's actually published as a private guide. And if you don't like the way it looks, then that kind of gives you a way of going back and maybe changing some fonts or changing some different boxes, kind of the rearrangement. I do preview my guides on a regular basis whenever I am editing them because it may look okay to me in the edit mode, and then when I preview them, I think, that just didn't look that good. That was not really what I wanted. You can add images. You can add pictures from your own computer. You can also add pictures. Basically, I would suggest adding any other pictures like from the web. I would make sure that those are okay with the Creative Commons license. So what I wanted to do is wind up, because I know we want to be mindful of time. And I do want to see quickly what questions are out there. A lot of questions will happen, quite frankly, when you start creating your LibGuide. Let's go back to this presentation. So there are different ways of support out there. This link And again, I can go ahead and send this link directly to Dr. Dow so that she can share this with you as well. This link is a guide that I created on learning how to create a LibGuide, and it contains a lot more detailed information, particularly on embedding images, embedding videos into your LibGuide, so you can take a look at that as well. But the other thing I wanted to show you is LibGuides is just fantastic at sharing what they have in terms of a community. So to get started, I would strongly suggest that you go ahead and check out community.libguides.com. I'll show you that just really quickly. I do this quite a bit because sometimes I may not be feeling that creative. Or I may think, I've got a really good idea for a guide, and this is community.libguides.com. I might think, I've got a good idea, but I just don't know how to make it look the way that I want. This is fantastic. You can actually search for a topic or a subject that you are interested in doing for this assignment, and you can also look at featured guides. I just happened to click on this featured guide for architecture and historic preservation. Welcome. So you see, they have library services, recommended resources, different boxes, the different tabs again on finding articles, finding books. I'll go back here and back one more. I would definitely browse this community site for LibGuides because that can really give you a lot of really nice ideas and also give you some ideas of how the LibGuide has actually been designed, because design can be, it's not more important than the information, but design is a key thing because you do want something that's going to capture somebody's interest and also be very easy to navigate. So I just wanted to make sure that you had that as well. I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation. Let's do this here and share this. Again, contact me if you have any questions. I do really enjoy answering questions from the 802 students about creating a LibGuide or maybe trying to get it to do something that you really want it to do. You can reach me at ckane1@emporia.edu. My phone is 620-341-5480. Leave me a voicemail and I will get back with you. Again, if you would like to set up a Zoom session with me for an interactive research appointment, if you're creating your LibGuide, absolutely do that because we can share our screen back and forth. I would not be able to answer questions about the assignment in terms of what Dr. Dow is wanting. But again, if you have questions about how to create a LibGuide or how to make it do something, absolutely contact me. Okay, I do want to stop at this point. Perry and Myra, are there any questions from the students out there right now that we could look at during chat, or you could just go ahead and relay to me?
Okay, I'll check. Anybody have a specific question for Cynthia that you? I think once they start doing it, it'll start meaning, be more meaningful. Here, I'll give you. Here's Dr. Dow.
Absolutely.
So Cynthia, that was just right. And what
good.
I'm hoping that, and students were really paying attention to you.
Great.
You showed them all the basic features. If they follow those features that you heard her talk about, listen to the video again. It'll be helpful to have the video and to look at it again once you're ready to do it, because really, you still have quite a bit of work to do before you're to this point.
Right.
It would be easy to not have this on your mind for a while. But what I'm hoping that you saw from today is that the guide platform gives a structure for organizing the content, displaying it in a way that's appealing and useful and relatively easy to follow. Now, it isn't simple to follow, but it should make sense to a reader so that they can make their way through what you're sharing. In most cases, in many cases, in fact, you're thinking of a specific audience that has a specific reason to use your guide. And as you will see in your assignment, perhaps you already have, I've asked you to begin by imagining an audience. And that is really a key piece to informing everything that you do, because you don't want to do something that doesn't make sense to that audience. And this is an opportunity to do your best to find high quality, accurate, reliable sources, things that people might or might not find on their own otherwise, and particularly things that whomever the subject specialist might be would really want to have appear there. It's also a time to not only practice gathering and selecting the sources, the reference sources, but also thinking about what to call them, how to lay it out and organize it, what to call the headings and the subheadings. All of that takes time and a little bit of practice. Mm-hmm. And so this is perhaps the first time you might have done this. And remember, more than anything, this is for your own learning. So give yourself time to try things out and think about how they look the best. Cynthia showed you an excellent example, the hip hop and activism example. You can find many others, but she selected that one because she thinks it is of high quality, has a good and reasonable framework, and if you didn't do anything but use it as an example, you'd really be in fine shape. You see what we're saying? So Cynthia?
Yes.
Did I think we've gotten to a place where students know what we want them to do and how to get started.
Great, great. And again, I just really would spend some time on that community.libguides.com site. I clicked on another link because I was just sort of browsing through some other examples that SpringShare has pulled out. You can see that these topics are just, very different. They are varied. There's a lot of different ways that you can use this, but I would definitely emphasize what Dr. Dash just said. Think about your audience and think about the types of resources they're going to need and how you're going to present that to the audience. But definitely check out the community and see if there are other things out there that might kind of catch your attention.
Okay, I think this is a good place to stop, and thank you so much.
You are welcome. Both of you take care. It's so great to be able to visit with both of you again. And for the students, good luck. And I will make sure that you all that have access to this video. Have a good rest of the day.
Okay, see you next week.
All right, bye-bye.